Well, hello everybody and welcome back to another Dark Souls 3 video. Today we're going to be taking a look at something unique, not going to be delving into tactics or specific weapon analysis. I actually want to talk today about the Dark Souls PvP experience and the evolution of this game throughout the years. Being somebody who's played Demon Souls, Dark Souls 1, Dark Souls 2, and Dark Souls 3 now, and a bit of Bloodborne. And even Armored Core, which is another, not obviously the Souls series, but another From Software game where PvP is prevalent. I've seen a steady progression in this game, and I've seen that each game has its own unique properties that make it a unique game. Now, don't get me wrong, all the games are unique and good in their own way. Personally, Dark Souls 1 wasn't my cup of tea. I really love Demon Souls, I really like Dark Souls 2, and Dark Souls 3 is quite decent as well. I wouldn't really rate it up there with Dark Souls 2 just yet, but we'll wait and see what the DLC has to offer, of course. But I've mentioned this before, and I'm going to kind of talk about it a little bit more in this video, but the way that the games evolve over the years, and you can see it if you go back and play, it kind of reflects things about the community, obviously, right? And don't get me wrong, community feedback is very important, but what you've seen in this game in particular, obviously, is a very heavy focus towards what people call honor duels, right? Or Pontiff area 1v1 summoning fights, fight club kind of arenas. There's no real excitement that's not really probably the right word, but invasions now, they're not really fun or not really worth it, because most of the time when you invade somebody, they're gonna have phantoms with them. They're gonna switch to the way of the blue if they don't. They're going to activate Sea-Tree of a Giant, and they're going to put you up against some really tough odds. Now, I'm not necessarily complaining. I always love a challenge, and, it can be fun to some degree, but I'm sure that everybody has experienced this if you've invaded, where you're just faced up against something that's impossible to virtually overcome, because enemies just keep running back to a safe spot behind enemies with Sea-Tree of a Giant active. You got spellcasters, hexers shooting stuff at you while you got enemies aggroing you, and it's just not plausible sometimes to even land a hit or get close to the host. Sometimes you can, and it feels really badass when it does happen, but in comparison to other games where invasions were a lot more fun and a lot more accessible, I guess you can call it, and you could actually take on those 2v1, 3v1 situations. This was especially prevalent in Demon Souls, obviously, and less throughout the rest of the Soul iterations. But, when you think about it, what made Dark Souls famous, or, really, I guess you can call it mainstream now, is Demon Souls, right? The legend of Demon Souls, essentially, with its incredibly hard difficulty, as people used to call it, because, yes, the first playthrough, if you've never played it before, can be quite daunting. And the fact that at any time the game could be made, 5 times as hard by somebody invading you, and running back through the enemies. And in Demon Souls, if you guys have never played it or seen PvP from it, you can look it up on my channel, actually. If you search Demon Souls, you'll see me face off against a lot of 2v1, 3v1 invasions where I actually fight through 2 or 3 different people. But an invader had an unlimited number of grass, and grass is what you use to heal yourself. So you would have like 5 different kinds of grass, each healing you a different amount, and you'd have like 99 of those pieces of grass. So you'd essentially have like almost 500 healing items in a world. So it really came down to if your opponent and their phantoms that they had summoned in the world with them, like the host, could end up comboing you before you could escape and heal. Otherwise, you just end up coming out and whittling down your opponent. And it was really a battle of attrition back then, to see, you run out, can you take on those 2 to 3 opponents, and take them all on before having to run back and heal? Or were they too good for you, and, if you would run back, you'd constantly have to heal yourself, and you just couldn't get any leeway on those phantoms and the host. So, it was its own game in its own right, but obviously a lot of people were not a fan of that, because people who would be invaded would complain that what's the point, I can't kill this invader. But the point of the game was that you would go through the level and fight the enemies with the invader and constantly push the invader back until they had nowhere else to go, and you would kill them, right? Demon Souls and even Dark Souls, right, the whole series is actually quite short of a game. So those invasions help to prolong the levels of the game and make it that much harder, which in my opinion is what really makes the game hard, right? Enemies yes, the first playthrough can be difficult, but what really helps it live up to that legendary status is the invasions. And what people love to see were amazing invasion clips, right? People love to see, oh my goodness, and even to this day, the most popular videos on YouTube sometimes for Dark Souls series games are invasions, right? People love to see people invading, being at a disadvantage, obviously, and coming back from an amazing feat. And in this game, it is extremely hard to do, but it's, like I said, so awesome when it does happen. But it is rare and much rarer now. So that, I think, in terms of community feedback, has shaped the way that these games have gone. And what's really concerning to me is that, while community feedback is good, right? Community feedback, obviously very important. I see a lot of people complaining about certain mechanics. And I addressed this a bit in a previous video where I talked about changes that the DLC could make to keep the game fresh. Some people want poise, some people hate poise. Some people want the fact that you can buff weapons. Some people want, it to remain the same. Some people complain saying that, the only thing that you have in this game is Pontiff area dueling. And the DLC has been rumored to come out with a PvP dedicated arena. But what really concerns me is the fact that people complain a lot about weapons and specific moves, I guess. While there is no doubt some weapons are better than others, there is no particular weapon or playstyle that necessarily is all-powerful or something that will always win out 100% of the time. What's nice about these Souls games, and this is something that also can be relatable to Street Fighter, even if you're using a lower tier weapon, or in Street Fighter's case, a lower tier character, again, something that's higher tier, right? A lot of people complained in my washing pole video, which is understandable. A lot of people didn't share my opinion, which I expected, and didn't share my viewpoint and stuff. That's, I can respect that. But it's really not that hard to beat. And I've showcased in a lot of videos, I upload a lot of PvP, I think, that, these overpowered moves and overpowered weapons, these spammable running R1s or, R1 spammers with straight swords and Carthus curved swords or whatever it might be, they are beatable. You just have to understand the mechanics of the game, the moveset, player psychology, have your own strategy in place, understand your own weapon, hitboxes, hurtboxes. You have to understand a lot of these things. And a lot of people, I think, don't really care to actually improve their skills, and they just want to complain about something. Now, that may sound hypocritical considering what I just said about the way that invasions have changed and really catered towards helping the host. But like I said, if they don't pop a seed tree of a giant, you have the whole world to your advantage. So if they do pop a seed tree of a giant, it just makes that whole invasion process all that harder, and your chances to win are very slim. The invader can always go home, right? The invader can always go home. So it is fair in that sense. The invader doesn't really lose anything if they go home. I understand the complaints about invasions, and I don't mean to sound hypocritical, but invasions obviously are not what this game has been developed for in terms of its PvP, right? A lot of people or a lot of YouTubers do upload, Pontiff arena fights. This is, what's considered the more skill-based PvP, obviously. People are building characters in this mode for PvP, whereas invasions, those amazing invasion clips where you kill somebody with like a phantom or two, maybe they have seed tree of a giant active, they're mostly going to be noobs, right? You get a lucky parry off on them, or they just don't understand the game. They're trying to attack you with a crappy weapon, or attack you through a hyper armor attack or something, and you just devastate them for a ton of damage. Their build isn't very good. They may have not a lot of health, or get staggered very easily, or their guard broken very easily, or whatever it might be, and you get a really nice PvP invasion clip because of stuff like that. But generally, when you invade somebody who knows a decent amount about this game, you're not going to win against them, and it's very hard. But in terms of weapons, and as now the PvP has kind of geared towards this arena style, a lot of people are complaining about this mode because obviously certain weapons and certain play styles, like playing defensive and stuff like that, has seemingly a huge advantage. But throughout this whole clip, if you've been paying attention through this Fight Club, I've been playing aggressive on virtually every opponent, and the defensive play style hasn't really fared too well against me. And I'm using a great sword, which I've really come around to in the past couple of days. But once you learn how to use these weapons, I used to rack on great swords before. I used to say they're not very good because I never really took the time to use them. I would use them and, I'd maybe win 66% of my matches or something, and that wasn't good enough for me. Winning, 6 and 9, losing 3 times was very frustrating to me. I'm the kind of person who likes to be really consistent, so I was often going to good weapons, learning good playstyles, but once you have taken the time to learn something, you'll really find that there's a lot of things in this game that are kind of in that rock, paper, scissors category where this beats that and that beats this and this playstyle counters this and this weapon with this playstyle counters that. So when you see somebody with a washing pole, for example, and people complain about the running attacks, an S-Stock Turtle is really good against it. A Great Sword is really good against it. Great Swords are good against Karthus curved swords as well, for example. So there's a lot of things that I think people can learn instead of complaining about the PvP arena. I hope this video makes sense and doesn't really seem too hypocritical, because I kind of wanted to address the way that the game has changed from player feedback versus the complaints that cause it to change, and maybe not always for the better, because now, because of those complaints, we have what we have in this game, where the game is so focused on that arena gameplay. And I know that people have commented before on the fact that invasions are just no fun, because I think community feedback has gone too far with what From Software has tried to develop. So hopefully this video didn't confuse you or make you think that I'm a hypocrite or something like that. I was just trying to voice my opinion, coming from somebody who did play the game when it was all about invasions, right? And I missed that. I missed that a lot, and I really respect the fact that people can still invade and go up against amazing feats and come out on top. But it's just not as fun to do anymore, given all the obstacles that you have to overcome. So I hope, this is in and of itself is player feedback, but I really hope that the new DLC area maybe adds a hidden mechanic or changes a lot of mechanics in the game to keep it fresh. I think that would be a really cool idea. So From Software, you probably have it already done and dusted, but here's hoping. So thank you for watching, guys. That is the video for today. Quantum is out.